We live in a time where miracles don't seem to happen. I don't believe that's true. I believe I am witnessing a miracle unfold. I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, a disease that at one time was a death sentence. Now, through the miracle gift of a stranger, I will be given a new birthday, a second chance at life.
Will you follow me on my personal journey and celebrate my new birthday?
Happy birthday, dear Ken. Happy birthday to you.
I get a little choked up every time I see that video. Brings back a lot of memories. Can everybody hear me okay? Even in the back? Okay, I can't see it too well, so a thumbs up helps. Yeah, that video I created right before I went in for my bone marrow transplant. And the reason why I made it and the reason why I made the Facebook page My New Birthday was really an outlet for me to tell my story. By trade, I'm a broadcaster or a journalist, and if I'm not telling a story, then I'm not doing my job. And at least that kind of gave me an avenue to focus on something other than my illness. And I'm just incredibly blessed, incredibly thankful that I've had a chance to reach out to so many people through that page. And again, I hope you have an opportunity to take a look at it yourself. Again, thank you to Be the Match for giving me the chance to come here and speak. It is absolutely just humbling to see all these faces and know that so many of you have taken the time to donate yourselves. It's just an awesome chance to be here. I'm day 226. I haven't reached my 1 year yet, but I'm getting there, and I'm hoping that someday I too will get to meet my donor and have an experience like you did today. It's just amazing, so touching. I'm looking forward to that as well. I'm going to tell you a little bit of background about my story, and it starts in 2011. 2011 was like a banner year for Ken Raimondi. You look back in your life and you see these years that just kind of stand out. I'm like, man, that was a good year. Well, 2011 was looking that way for me. Basically, started out, I won some military awards. I'm in the Air Force. I won NCO of the Year for my unit, and just all these things were happening. And in the military, when you win like a big award like NCO of the Year, they like to wine and dine you and have these big events where you get all in your fancy uniform and look all sharp. And it was looking great. It was looking beautiful. Had my wonderful wife with me, who's any chance to get her dressed up and out makes me happy. And she always makes me look better too. So my family life was going well. My kids were doing well. My spiritual life was strong. In fact, one of the things that we don't really do well as a family, we actually did that year, which was go on a vacation. We actually went out to the lake, took a week, had a vacation, and it was incredible. Then in August, something started to change. I too was relatively active, young male, ran, 2-3 times a week, 5K in the middle of San Antonio heat. So I'm thinking I was pretty healthy, right? Felt that way. Then in August, things started to change a little bit. I would get home and all of a sudden I would just crash. I had no energy, I had no nothing, and I couldn't pinpoint it other than the fact that, I'm a dad and I have 2 kids and this, kind of like what you were talking about. You make up excuses as to why you're not feeling well. And, but then I started to realize it was more than that. My wife and I, we went on a date, we went to go to a concert and had a great time that night, but as I'm at the concert, I'm standing up and I just felt like my legs were pulling. Like, I had Wile E. Coyote Acme anvils on my feet. And I was like, that's not normal. Why do I feel this way? And I remember sitting in the car on the way back and my legs were just so heavy and I just kept stretching them and I couldn't nail it other than the fact that maybe I was just tired, right? Maybe I just did too much that day. Well, fortunately that wasn't the case. Next morning I woke up and I put on my slippers. I was going to go water my grass as we do in San Antonio for whatever reason. It's brown anyway, but I still went out there to go do it. And I look down at my foot and I see all these little red dots. How many of you know the term petechiae? Some of you maybe, yeah. Petechiae are these little red dots when your blood vessels burst. And once I saw these little dots all over my leg, I did what anybody would do and I ran to Google, started searching it, looking it up, trying to find out what was going on. And everything I saw said go to a doctor yesterday. So thankfully I called my doctor and they were able to see me. And when I went in there, they drew blood just like they did to you. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm tired and I'm just kind of rolling around. The doctor comes in and he goes, hey, you're our mystery case of the day. Who wants to hear that in the doctor's office? Nobody. Nobody wants to hear that. Doctor comes back in and says that your platelets are down at about 16,000. Your normal should be about 150 to 400,000. Anything below 20, you're at risk of bleeding to death. And suffice to say, that was a wake-up call. I still didn't really know the severity of it because I'm an endless positive thinker. So my thought was, well, I'm not bleeding to death, right? So it can't be that bad. But basically the doc said, hey, this weekend, take it easy, all right? Don't get any bumps and bruises, stay away from anything sharp, and we're going to get you to a doc on Monday to get you checked out. Well, that weekend we had an event that we were going to go to with some friends, and so we went, and we still weren't sure what the diagnosis was, but we knew, hey, just be careful, okay? Well, we went to this place where we were going to watch a friend play some music and go out and have a dinner. Well, the place was packed, and they had picnic tables all kind of laid out, and we were waiting to get a good picnic table. And I saw one open up. So, me being a goofball, I'm like, oh, let's go get that picnic table. And I run over there and I jump on the picnic table. And I slam my shin into the side of the picnic table. I was like, oh, that kind of hurt. Sitting there for a little while, and I was like, something feels weird. I feel a little different. And I look down, and what do I see but a melon growing on my shin. And obviously that made me a bit nervous. So talked to my wife, and I showed her, and I said, oh, I think we may need to do something about this. She said, yes, we do. So she packed me in the car, and we went straight to the hospital. When I got there, I found out my platelets were at about 9,000. And that is when I received my first platelet transfusion. After that, we ended up transferring care from one hospital over to Brooke Army Medical Center. And during that time, my counts just were all crashing. My white blood cells, my red blood cells started to drop. My platelets were I was still transfusion dependent, every few days or every day. Can't really remember those fine details now. Some of those you like to whitewash. But eventually I ended up coming down with what they call a neutropenic fever. And to explain what that is, if you don't know, when you have no white blood cells, you have no immunity, no ability to fight off anything. So viral infections, funguses, bacteria, you name it, stuff that when you're healthy you can kind of fight off. If you don't have the white blood cells, you can't fight them off. And so I ended up coming down with a neutropenic fever, and it was a very dangerous time for me. I had fevers as high as 106 degrees. I was sleeping on ice. I was thrown into cold showers. I had shivers in the chair that I couldn't stop. It was I would say, it's about as close to death as you, would ever not want to be, I guess. But thankfully, they were still trying to figure out what was wrong with me. They didn't nail down my diagnosis yet, but one of the things the doc said was, let's just hit them with everything. So they hit me with antibiotics, they hit me with this, and then finally they hit me with an antifungal medicine that after they did that, the fever started to subside. And thank God every day for that. So after the fever subsided and I started to, they started to level out a little bit and become more stable, they, through process of elimination, after a bone marrow biopsy, blood tests, and everything else, came down to a diagnosis of aplastic anemia. Aplastic anemia is a bone marrow disorder. It's not a cancer, but basically what it is your bone marrow just stops working. And in about 50% of the cases, they have no idea why that is. And I was one of those 50%. And basically for aplastic anemia, if you do have a brother or sister that matches, the first round of treatment that they prefer is a bone marrow transplant. In my case, I didn't have that. I only have half brothers and sisters, so I didn't have a full sibling match. And so the first treatment they did was called ATG. Basically what that is, they try to just jumpstart your system. They knock down all your cells. They hope that by doing that, when they come back up, they grow back and they grow normal. And for some folks, that is successful. It varies from 6 months to sometimes a year and a half before you see a response. But for some folks, that is successful, and they can actually move on with their lives and live relatively healthy lives. It's not a cure, but they consider it in remission if ATG is successful. In my case, about 6 months post-ATG, my platelets were still in the 20s. My red blood cells were still low. My white blood cells were hovering in the 2s, 2.5 maybe. Still very low. And one of the problems for me was that I couldn't handle the medicine that they give you along with ATG or after ATG called cyclosporin. It's another immunosuppressant they use to try to help your body recover and build those new cells. But it didn't work for me. My kidneys couldn't handle it, and so I was on a very low dose, and so I was kind of in a hard place because there really wasn't much else they could do at that point. And so at 6 months, I kind of had a choice, and I guess I made the choice. I talked to my hematologist, and everything I saw study-wise says that The earlier you go for a bone marrow transplant, the better. The healthier you are going in, and the better outcome you have going out. And so I pressured them and I pushed them, and I ended up having a second opinion over at MD Anderson to see about moving forward and what the next step should be. Thankfully, there was a match in the registry. Somebody I never met. Could have been one of you. I know it's not, but it could have been. That's my point. Absolute stranger who took the time to get on the registry. Was a 12 for 12 match for me with high resolution testing. Young male, same blood group, as good as I could possibly get without being a sibling. And so at 6 months, it was my decision. And I felt comfortable with it, and I had absolute peace about it. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go through with this. I'm supposed to have this transplant, and I'm going to tell my story, good, bad, and indifferent, to whoever's going to listen. And so that's what we did. My transplant has really been a textbook journey for aplastic anemia. Right now, like I said, I'm day 226. I'm 100% donor, which means no more aplastic anemia. I am cured. My counts are all normal. I say I'm cured because I'm 100% donor, so I don't know, there's really nothing left of me lurking around there. Doctors will argue. I've seen a lot of data that say 6 months, 3 years. I'm 100% donor. I think I'm cured. I feel cured. And what's so great for me to be here, to have an opportunity to talk to folks like you, is there's some things I want to share with you, some things that I have gained since my transplant. Since my new birthday on March 23rd, 2012, I celebrated my 9th wedding anniversary with my wife. I have a little list, so hold on. All right, may have only been a few months, but I got to do a lot of cool stuff that, you know what? When you think you've got all the days in the world, maybe you miss, but when those days seem numbered, you start to look back and really pay attention. I got to celebrate my old birthday at 31, so, 31st birthday for me. I got to see my kids' t-ball game. Their first hockey skating lesson. I'm a huge hockey fan, so that was a big time for Dad. Got to see my youngest's 5th birthday, my wife's birthday. I even got to be part of a new nonprofit inline hockey league here in San Antonio, and I'm playing hockey again. The guy who had no platelets is playing hockey again. That's just amazing. I'm back at work now. I'm not working full-time yet. I'm working from about 10 to 4:30. Getting up in the morning is still tough for me, and that's, I've been told that just takes time. But I have been back at work for about 2 weeks now, and I'm there with a fresh perspective. And it's really a great honor to be able to wear the uniform again. It's funny. In the Air Force, you got to wear your blues on Monday. And that's usually a collective groan. I go, oh, got to wear my blues. Got to get in that thing, okay. Boy, it's a different feeling now, when you think that you may never have a chance to wear it again. Ribbons are on, badges are on, ties tied, I'm all in it, It's a good feeling. I've been given a chance to continue to serve my God. And I've been given a chance to love on my family as a husband and a father. I've met so many people who've supported me and who I've had a chance to support, mainly through that Facebook page, my new birthday. Through that page, there's like 701 likes. So I've got 700 people or groups or organizations I've been able to connect with through there. And it's just been an honor to be able to do that. I'm going to name a couple of people because I just feel on my heart I need to. Paul, Alton, Eric, Brittany, Victoria, Michelle, Jeff and Lisa, Whitley, Samantha, Jody. This is not at all an exhaustive list of people, but these are just people who have supported me and who I've had the chance to support. They're survivors, they're advocates, and some of them are still in the fight today. One particular person I want to mention, his name is Ricardo. He showed up at my church right before I went into my transplant. And he had just finished his transplant. A little boy, I think he's 5 or 6, 7. And I remember looking him in the eyes and telling him, thank you for being here because you are absolutely just inspiring me to, giving me the strength I need to go forward. I am sad to say that he did lose his battle with leukemia. But I have no doubt that little boy reached a lot more people than just me. But I can tell you that him, that small person, gave me just what I needed to move forward to that next step. And it's in his memory and the memory of others I will continue to be an advocate, and I will continue to share his story and my story. Also, for those like Nolan right here in San Antonio who is still waiting for a match, I am happy to report I hear his numbers are actually climbing. I think I've heard that. But he still does need a match in the registry. There are people who are in the same situation I was in, and they go to the registry and there's nobody there for them. I can't imagine that feeling. And I think of people like Nolan. And I know that I'm going to continue my story because you gave your time. You gave your cells. You did something that a lot of people would not do. You gave somebody a second chance. And I just want to give you a round of applause for that. Now, I know you didn't do that for the nice reception, although it is cool. Okay? It is cool. You did it because you have a heart, and you know that there are people in need. What happened to me could happen to anybody. How many people will be part of the solution? I look at a room here, and I see a room full of people who wanted to be part of the solution. Part of helping one another, part of being a miracle. Every single one of you who have donated are part of a miracle. Thank you for choosing to make that small sacrifice. Thank you so much for being a hero. In the video, I asked you to follow my journey to witness a miracle. My journey isn't over. It's just getting started, and I'm incredibly excited to see what is going to happen next. I look forward to the day, again, I get to meet my donor. And again, God bless each and every single one of you for what you have done and for why you are here. There are more who need matches. And I have no doubt everybody here is going to continue to be an advocate and continue to get out there and let people know about Be the Match. Let people know that it takes a swab. That's it, a swab. And then you may have the opportunity to be part of a miracle. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and it's an honor to be here, and enjoy your dinner.